It's me, Shell360, and it's been a while since I've put a video on my channel that wasn't a live stream, so I apologize for the big break, but I wanted to put this on my channel because I thought it was a really interesting subject matter. So this is regarding standing groups before they've debuted, and this was originally on I was gonna say her first name, but it's Carolyn. Oh my gosh, that's gonna get so hard to get used to. It was on Carolyn, Mgirlpersonal's YouTube channel about, you know, the logic behind standing people before they debut. And I have to be honest with you, there are not any groups that I can think of in recent memory that I stand before they debuted. I was a fan of NCT after their first song, but because of the way that that group is formulated and how nebulous it is, I can't say whether or not I stand them before they debuted. I just remember thinking that Sixth Sense was a bomb-ass song, and it has proven to be a bomb-ass song all these years later, so I wasn't wrong about that. But yeah, I can't think of any other groups that I knew of them before they debuted, and this is including reality shows, actually, because I watched Produce 101 this latest season that IZ*ONE came from. Didn't stand the group before they debuted because it still wasn't really certain what kind of music they'd put out once they became a group. Same thing with Win. When they did Win and it was iKON and Winner, I remember thinking, okay, well, generally YG does really good music, so I should like what they're doing, but at the same time, I don't know necessarily if I'm down with Winner's concept. And when it first came out, I have to say, coloring kind of disappointed me. So I haven't had the experience of standing a group before they debuted. But then I had to think to myself, because I like to look at things from the other side of the aisle if I can, what would be the terms under which I would stand a group before they debuted? And I think that there are ways to do that. And I think that one of the streams that was in her comment section that was really important was the stream about Stray Kids. I did not watch Stray Kids' pre-debut show because I wasn't interested in it, and I'm really not interested in a lot of these pre-debut competition shows because my heart breaks too easily. But a lot of people in the comment section were saying it was very easy to stan Stray Kids before their debut because so much of the music that they were going to release was shown in the show. Not necessarily singles, but like, this is the direction of the group, these are the kind of songs they're going to be doing, they are going to be writing their own music, and this is the music they're writing. And so that was really easy for people to say, okay, well, when their first stuff comes out, I'm gonna buy it because I love everything that's been on this show so far. And also, like, Elevator was the single, and so it was like, okay, yeah, I love Elevator, so this is gonna be fine. Sorry about it, my glasses were bothering me. So circumstances like that I could see standing before debut, and that's why a lot of people really stand iKON before they debuted because they loved what was going on in Win. They really thought that the group sounded good, and then in the follow-up competition show for iKON, people liked the covers and everything else, so they were like, yeah, I could see me standing this group because I really like YG, I really like this sound that they have going on, and if they're doing this music, then I buy it because I've already had a chance to experience it. Another example of a group that before debut was really easy to latch on to was Luna. But I feel like Luna is the exception to the rule because their whole rollout was the exception to the rule. This was a group that we knew most of the members' names, what their voices sound like, what they look like in music videos, what their personalities were like because of all of the content that their company put out prior to the actual official group debut. I mean, there are well, I won't say whole albums, but whole singles that were released for these people well before we actually ever saw a group project. And so, yeah, you could say I stan Luna because you were given all of these different musical shades and like, okay, well, if I liked this stuff, I don't see how I can not like the full group unless they just totally do like hardcore death metal, and that is not what I signed up for. And so I think it was a lot easier to stan in those instances. But if it wasn't, I've heard all your music before you debuted and that's why I like you, because I think that's the circumstance I'm describing. The other circumstance would be company trust. There are certain companies that people just trust. Like, they have a ton of favorites from that company. They've loved all the music to come from a company. There's always been like really good output. And so you're like, whatever they release, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it because they have not let me down yet. And for me, I have to say that company is SM. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody if you've watched my channel for any length of time, but like, SM really doesn't let me down. The only group that I've never really jammed with that much, NCT Dream, I still can't quite get it. And even me and NCT, I like the music that comes out of NCT as a project. I can't say that I have any special affinity towards the members though, because there's just so fucking many of them and I'm an old lady. But when it comes to musical choices, the creative team at SM tends to choose music that suits my personal yen. It is stuff that I really like. It is stuff that I prefer, and because of that, I generally never have a problem with the music that comes out of SM because it's for me. There's keen exceptions here and there. Even in my favorite group, SHINee, there are exceptions to the rule. For instance, Wolf Wolf will never be a favorite of mine. You can't convince me otherwise. That is a lost cause. But on the whole, SHINee is my favorite group for a reason, because everything else they have knocked out of the park. And that's where I could see somebody saying, okay, so Pledis has a new boy group coming out. I stan Pledis. I know the style that Pledis does. I know I'm going to love this group. And most people, 9 times out of 10, they're absolutely right about it. They are going to stan because they love the company suits their needs, they have the same producers kind of working with every single group. It works out. So I don't think there's anything wrong with standing a group before they debut, because, you know, for these reasons that I've already said. But then there was another really important distinction that she made about being a fan of a group or being excited for a debut versus standing. And I think throughout this video, I have commingled the two, being excited about a debut and standing. And I think I've commingled the two because standing doesn't mean what it used to. The definition of standing itself has really changed over the course of the last decade, longer than a decade probably, because for those of you who don't know, the term stan comes from an Eminem song. Yeah, it comes from Eminem's Stan, and it's about like a stalker fan, and that's why it's called Stan, stalker fan. Now, if I tell you I'm a SHINee stan, I don't stalk SHINee. Yes, I pay a lot of attention to their social media output, their musical output, their promotional activities, but I don't go out of my way to learn things about SHINee that I'm not supposed to know. I pretty much base my fandom on the content that has been officially released, content that I'm allowed to have, content that's not intrusive or invades their privacy, and for those reasons, I like SHINee. So when you look at the definition of the word stan and what it's come to mean in our current course of conversation, I think it is appropriate to say I stand for somebody, because stan doesn't mean what it used to. It's just like the word awesome. The phrase awesome comes from awe, which can be found in the Bible. And to be in awe of something means to like jaw-dropping, life-changing, like I could die tomorrow because I've just seen the penultimate moment in human history. Like awe used to mean something extremely reverential. Now we say awesome like it's nothing. Like, oh man, that pizza we had the other day was awesome. It was so good, like the sauce was so great. I'm definitely gonna have to go back there sometime. Things lose their intensity over time, and so I don't necessarily think that it's invalid to say I stand for somebody even if they're not your ultimate bias group, because stan doesn't mean what it used to, and it's lost its effectiveness over a far shorter period of time than a word like awesome. And so that's why I commingle it here, because like I said, the word just doesn't hold the same meaning that it used to. But that's my thoughts on all of this. I hope that some of you would like to discuss this down below. And I think a lot of this talk came from the whole TXT discussion. A lot of people have said that they stand the boys for TXT, and these are babies in my eyes, so like there's nothing for me to stand there. Like you really got to show me something, because these are babies, and when it comes to babies, my first thought is, oh, oh, y'all are cute, and then I move on. But yeah, I need to see something from them first before I can really give any kind of judgment. And, you know, I don't want it to seem like I don't have hope for them or that they won't be on my radar. I mean, because they are coming from Big Hit, and this is Big Hit's first big debut since BTS blew up. And so yeah, I'm going to be paying attention for sure, but at the same time, I'm just not ready to hand over that mantle. I'm not ready to hand over that money until I see and hear the product, because the amount of released information that we've gotten from Big Hit, to me, just for me personally, doesn't justify the stand. We've gotten some images, we've gotten maybe, what, 30 seconds of music so far, but yeah, we haven't gotten any V-Lives. We haven't gotten the kind of interactions that I personally think you need in order to be on the side of a group. You know, like even ATEEZ, you could say that, oh, well, we got some dance practices and some dance covers. That's still a good amount of content. And they had their shows where they showed them recording the videos, recording the album. So there has been a lot of content for ATEEZ prior to just the songs coming out. So you could build up a stand platform on that. But I don't see it, for me personally, for TXT right now. I'm still kind of in the mode of show and prove when it comes to those young men, but I wish them the absolute best. I think that this is a really positive thing for Big Hit as a company. I think it's a positive thing for BTS as a group, and I think it's a positive thing because today Jimin did well, I don't say a live, that's not what I want to say. He put something on their Bangtan TV YouTube channel, which was him talking about how, you know, he had been tired and kind of questioning why he was going through everything he's going through being an idol, and that a couple of things really revealed to him why he continues to go. And, you know, is this all, I guess, is the culmination for his life? Like, you know, I've been trying so hard since debut to make this thing work, and now that I'm here, was it worth it? Am I supposed to be here? Is there anything else for me out there that maybe I'm not pursuing? Am I really happy? Am I at the place I'm meant to be? And I think a lot of those feelings come from burnout. It comes from having the world on your shoulders. Imagine for just a period of time, in a way more relatable way, imagine if you were the only person in your family who was making income. Your parents didn't have income, your grandparents didn't have income, your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and your brothers and sisters, no one in your family had money. You were the only person in your family who was making money for everyone to survive on. And you're at your job and your boss is hounding you and you're thinking, okay, I've got to continue to increase my sales, I've got to give better customer service, I've got to work more hours because everyone around me depends on me to support them. Well, that's the position that BTS has been in. Big Hit pretty much should have been called BTS's support team, because every single person in that building gets their check from that group. You know, there are other acts signed to Big Hit. A lot of people forget about Home, but they weren't bringing in the money that Big Hit does. They were probably loss leaders, if anything. And so to know that everyone is hanging their financial hopes on your shoulder, that's one form of pressure on you. But then to also know that anything you do wrong could affect the entire group. Especially like when I think about Jimin, I don't remember if the timing is right on this thing that he broadcast. He just broadcast it today, but I think it was filmed back in April. So I don't know if that time all the stuff had come out about Jimin's shirt and the controversy in Japan about that and all the other fashion controversies. But yeah, like everything you do gets criticized and critiqued and gone over with a fine-tooth comb, and you can't ever step out of order. And when you think about that, as a human being, to be under the microscope that way, that's tough. That's really tough. And so for no other reason, I'm very excited that TXT is coming out, because maybe they can be huge. And if they can be huge, then BTS can maybe take a break. You know, that is the ideal outcome for all of this. And so I can get being excited about TXT coming out, just so that maybe they can take some of the pressure off. Maybe a valve can be released and a little air let out of the tires, because I could see some really bad outcomes happening for BTS. And it all tracks back. I know I say this all the time, and I'm sorry, but it all tracks back to my feelings about Jongin. Jongin took a lot of things on his shoulders, and a lot of why he lived as long as he did was because of the obligations he felt for other people. But part of the reason why he couldn't live as long as he should have lived is because of obligations he felt to other people. Part of it was, I know I'll make my mother sad. I know I will let people down if I do this, but at the same time, I'm already letting people down because I'm not the best version of myself, and I don't know how to be a better version of myself. So when you put all that together, and this is somebody who didn't have as much of an international focus as BTS, like didn't have nearly as much criticism, but still had a fair amount. I see what happened with him, and everything in me screams, don't let this happen again. Please don't let this happen again. Whatever it takes to make sure this doesn't happen again, that's what I want. And so that's the reason why I say, you know, whatever it takes to provide support for BTS so that they don't feel the crushing weight of responsibility at every moment and at every turn, that's what I'm looking for. That's absolutely what I'm looking for. So that's the whole thing. I've gone off on tangents. We started one place and ended up somewhere totally different. And so I'm just going to end this with a little fun for you guys because we're talking about BTS. There is a person on YouTube by the name of Oli London. Oli is spelled O-L-I, and then London like the town, the city. Anyway, he did a documentary with Barcroft TV. It's on YouTube. You can look it up. And he's a big BTS stan. And he spent, I want to say, $60,000 to get his face to look like Jimin's face. It is the cringiest thing I have ever seen in my life. And I've seen a lot. You know, I've been around the block a time or two. And my God, it is so... It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to see it. But at the same time, I'm like, we've officially crossed over here, guys. Like, it's official. We now got people fucking up their faces to look like BTS. And when I say fuck up their face, when you look at this dude's face, he done fucked his face up. It's not me criticizing BTS at all. I'm criticizing this individual. He has fucked his face up. But, I mean, we're at the point now where people are fucking their faces up to look like BTS. Like, if that don't say that we have really made it there, that we have really crossed over on the pop culture landscape, I don't know what else does. I don't know what else does. And also, just if you want a little bit of further entertainment, Mr. London has a song on YouTube as well called Perfection. And it starts with the most butchered and ill-pronounced Hangul ever. And then a song that he must have written himself because the lyrical content is trizash. The timing is trizash. He has absolutely no charisma when it comes to a video. Like, this is me pretending to be him in his music video. I am perfection. Everything about me is so awesome. Everyone wants to be me. I can't help if the mirror doesn't look the same for you, but I'm perfection. Yes, I'm perfection. That is me doing him. Like, it is. Woo! I will put a link to both the Barcroft video and the YouTube music video in the comments, not comment section, in the description. But yeah, please check it out if you're looking for a good guffaw today, because I hollered when I saw it. It was embarrassing because I was in my office and people were like, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. Nothing. Because it was just bad. It was so bad. But anyway, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.